Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, it's me again, Miss Reza Pustika. How are you? I hope you are all fine. Thank you for downloading this learning video. It shows how enthusiastic you are to continue our discussion. Thank you. Well, how your learning is going so far? If you have any questions related to our subject, educational psychology, go reach me, class. In the previous learning video, we have discussed about cognitive and language development. In this learning video, we are going to discuss about constructivism approaches to instruction. By learning about this topic, you are expected to have knowledge about constructivist approaches that you might use in your real classroom later on. Before we start, I want you to a little bit recall your memory about constructivists because I believe I have given you a brief definition about what constructivist is. So, what does constructivist mean, everyone? Yep, constructivism emphasizes how individuals actively construct knowledge and understanding. I'm sure you are still familiar with the name Piaget and Vygotsky. Yeah, they are constructivists. A social constructivist approach emphasizes the social context of learning and the idea that knowledge is mutually built and constructed. Involvement with others creates opportunities for students to evaluate and refine their understanding as they are exposed to the thinking of others and as they participate in creating shared understanding. Then, how do Piaget and Vygotsky theories differ from one to another? In Piaget's cognitive constructivist approach, students construct knowledge by transforming, organizing, and reorganizing previous knowledge and information. Meanwhile, Vygotsky's social constructivist approach emphasizes that students construct knowledge through social interaction with others. When we talk about constructivist approaches, we cannot forget about one important term, namely situated cognition. Situated cognition is an important assumption in the social constructivist approaches. It refers to the idea that thinking process occurs in social and physical contexts. That's all the introduction to refresh your memory. We move to the deeper topic about constructivist approaches. Teachers and peers as joint contributors to students' learning. For tools for making students' learning are scaffolding, cognitive apprenticeship, tutoring, and cooperative learning. Scaffolding. In the previous video, I have mentioned that scaffolding is the technique of changing the level of support over the course of a teaching session. When the task the student is learning is new, the teacher might use direct instruction. As the student's competence increases, the teacher provides less guidance. Cognitive apprenticeship. Cognitive apprenticeship is a technique in which an expert supports a student's understanding and use of culture skill. The term apprenticeship underscores the importance of active learning and highlights the situated nature of learning. In a cognitive apprenticeship, teachers often model strategies for students. Then teachers or more skilled peers support students' effort at doing the task. Finally, they encourage students to continue their work independently. Tutoring. Tutoring is a basically cognitive apprenticeship between an expert and a student. Tutoring can take place between an adult and a child or between a more skilled child and a less skilled child. Cooperative learning. Cooperative learning occurs when students work in small groups to help each other learn. You all will be so familiar with this term as you continue your English study because there is a huge number of research undergoes this topic. You can also take this sophisticated topic as your thesis topic later on. Why not? Structuring small group work. To set your students in group is beneficial for your own students. However, you as the teacher need to pay attention to certain factors when you structure your students to work in group. The first one, composing the group. It is highly recommended to compose the heterogeneous group with diversity in ability, ethnic background, socioeconomic status, and gender. The reasoning behind heterogeneous grouping is that it maximizes opportunities for peer tutoring and support, improves cross-gender and cross-ethnic relations, and ensures that each group has at least one student who can do the work. Team building skill. Good cooperative learning in the classroom requires that time be spent on team building skill. This involves thinking about how to start team building at the beginning of the school year, helping students become better listeners, giving students practice in contributing to a team product, getting students to discuss the value of a team leader, and working with the team leaders to help them deal with problem situations. Structuring small group interaction. One way to facilitate students' work in small group is to assign students different roles. It means everyone in the group has their own role to make the group work effectively. For example, there is someone whose role is a recorder. He or she has a responsibility to write others' idea or decision. We move to the final topic for today's learning video, which is fostering a community of learners. The Fostering Community Learners program that was built by Anne Brown and Joe emphasizes 3 strategies that encourage reflection and discussion. The first one, the use of adult as role model. Second one, children teaching children. The last one, online computer consultation. Adults as role models. The adults demonstrate how to think and self-reflect in the process of identifying topics within a general area of inquiry or reasoning with given information. They continually ask students to justify their opinions and then to support them with evidence and so on. Children teaching children. Cross-age teaching, in which older students teach younger students, is used. Cross-age teaching provides students with invaluable opportunities to talk about learning, give students responsibility and purpose, and fosters collaboration among peers. Online computer consultation. FCL classrooms also use email to build community and expertise. Through email, experts provide coaching and advice, as well as elementary about what it means to learn and understand. Online experts function as role model of thinking. Well, class, that covers what I want to share to you today about constructivist approaches to instruction. There's a lot more information you can find in your handbook and some other resources. So keep reading, everyone. The assignment for this week will be there in Spada. On the next learning video, we will have discussion on individual variations and achievements. Thank you for your attention. Stay healthy and see you on the next video.